We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. The Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We are all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus. But no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what.
Well,
you are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, right? Rough.
Dude.
Hold on, let me pull his feedback up so that we can make sure we're ready when they go live. But look, I think there's times in men's lives where things like this happen, and I think I had a quick conversation with my mom this morning. Before I left for work, and she went out with her friends, and she's like, is this the turning point? And I said, I think so, Mom, but not in the way you think. The people that want a civil war are not on our side.
They're not at all.
She goes, well, is it time to have this conversation? And I said, the time to have this conversation was when this political violence started in 2016 after Donald Trump came down the golden escalator.
Right.
And I want to be very clear about what I mean. There was periods of time after the midterms, 2018, where we all stopped wearing MAGA gear out in public. Why? Because we were fearful of political violence.
Right.
Political violence, or possibly unalived by some crazy wacko on the left. And I don't remember before 2016 ever feeling that way. But after 2016, they made it very clear that they were out to take us out of the game because we wouldn't listen to them.
Right.
And but we did listen to them. We listened to them for 50 years, and we would slowly cave and slowly cave and
Yep.
slowly cave and slowly cave, and now we're here. And so I was telling my mom, they're like, she goes, "Is this a?" She's 73. Her friend group's all right in the same range. 63 to 83 probably is her
Yeah.
friend group,
Right.
right? And they're like, "Is it time to finally have this conversation?" And I told my mom, I was like, "No, we had the conversation in 2016. The
Yeah.
conversation is over.
Yeah. It's done. We're done talking,
It's
dude.
over."
And that's such a valid point that we acquiesced and acquiesced and acquiesced and I go back to where when I was in law enforcement, right? You had maybe 3 or 4 cuss words
Yep.
that you could use with me while we're encountering each other. But when you stepped over the line, that was it. You're going to
Yeah.
jail. You're inciting violence or you're threatening or but and now, you know, remember regular TV, there was never any cursing or anything that, you know, there were no bedroom scenes, there were,
Right.
inferences, you know, him and her would go inside and close the door and then they'd roll the credits or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
that's how, and we acquiesced over and over again and said, yeah, okay, we could do bedroom scenes. Yeah, okay, we can do girls
Well, and
wearing
then
a
it
bra
was
on television.
bringing the age down, right? So it was like an adult crowd, and then it was, all right, let's let teens, PG-17, and then it was, well, let's just let PG see it. And
Yeah,
right, we have acquiesced, your word, correctly to all of this, and it's I I think, and that's why I told my gut reaction to my mom. I was like, "This is we're done. We're done. You've been pushing us for 50 years. We're done." And she
yeah,
goes, "Well, what are you guys gonna do?" And I said,
yeah,
we're gonna crush that party
yep,
so that it no longer exists in Western Hemisphere, let alone America." And my mom's gonna be like, or my mom was like, What does that say? What does that mean?" I was like, "It doesn't mean what you think it does. We're not coming at them in a civil war after violence.
right, yeah,
We
yeah,
are going to activate everybody who has stayed hidden in the background, who
yep,
feels just like us, and
yep,
we're going to vote them out so that they realize they are the tiniest of a minority party on 10% of the issues,
yep,
and nobody will ever be in power ever again because of them. Like they're gone. You activated Gen Z, the new trad, um, right,
yeah,
people, because they're traditional.
yeah,
They've watched all this stuff. They watched what Gen X has gone through as parents, and they said, "Fuck this shit. We're going back to trad.
yeah,
We're
yep.
not voting. We're not doing any of this stuff. We're just not."
And yeah, so I've got a good friend. Her name is Lynn, and she's a physician, and she is uber, uber, uber liberal. She worked for Doctors Without Borders. She did, 5 years in Africa with Ebola and malaria, and just a compassionate, a typical doctor, put the human being first and, that kind of thing, do no harm.
Yep.
And her vitriol was so off the chart on her Facebook page about this that I sent her a direct message and I said, I
Yeah.
am so disappointed in you. You you work, you do compassionate things, you know, everybody's deserves this, that, and the other. You've always been that way since I've known you, and that's why we're friends, even though we don't agree politically.
Sure.
Tanya and I have been to their house and had dinner, and they've been to our house and had, we just don't talk about politics. But her vitriol,
Yeah.
dude, it was off the chain. It was psycho. I mean, it was really psycho.
I totally believe it. I guess this is where a lot of Americans that don't focus on politics the way that you and I do, and there's millions of them. I woke up over the last 2 days, and I'm not talking about woke as far as politics.
No. I know what you
Woke
mean.
up,
Yeah.
looked at their social media, looked around at their friends, and they're like, "Holy fuck, you just wished murder on somebody, and now you're
Yeah.
calling for the murder of Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with you, and I honestly don't want to work around you. I don't feel safe. I
Yeah.
had no idea you were all this violent."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So and that's where, and I did, I didn't have long to talk with mom this morning, but what I said is like, there is no conversation left with the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
Now, are there Democrats that of whatever age that don't do this or don't feel that? Yeah, of course there are.
Of course there
But
are. Yeah.
your party is destroyed.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
Look at the Democrats of the 70s and, protesting the Vietnam War.
Fiscal conservative, anti-war.
Right. But they didn't assassinate anybody that they thought was responsible for the war or anything. They just wore tie-dye and smoked dope and put signs up and stuff. And then, Kent State happened, where some Appalachian redneck boy with the reserve got a little overzealous, but it still was, I would say, 85% to 90% benevolent. It was, in other words, I'm saying that generation, which are like my older brothers and sisters,
Right.
that was,
They left
killing
a little
somebody
bit of
didn't cross their
trash on the
mind.
they left a
Yeah.
little bit of trash on the mall. Nothing like you see today.
Right.
Nothing.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And that was it. And they
Yeah.
got out there, they shouted, "Hey, Trad Mama, I think we got you in here. I'm watching. I think it has I've got the live feed. It hasn't started yet. Trad Mama, are you with us?"
Yeah, I'm in. I'm just grabbing my headset.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, because obviously you might be able to see it on your screen, but a lot of people later, because we simulcast this to, I don't know, Paul. What are we at now? Like 9 networks now, 10 networks.
10.
Some of the networks like iHeartRadio, they don't have video, so it's audio only.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep bantering right now.
And it's fine because I have a face made for radio.
Well, I totally agree. And you know what? Podcasts, Joe Rogan pointed this out, or proved this, but Rush Limbaugh solidified it. He had the Ditto Cam. He was the first podcaster. He had the Ditto Cam before Joe Rogan became a thing.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan became a thing, but he's also on Spotify. If you listen to Spotify in your car, they won't let you watch the video.
No.
So you listen to it like it's a radio program.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of podcasting. And some people lose the finesse there, that it's still a radio game with live video. It's radio.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's just
it really
people
is.
can see you on certain apps.
It's live radio with a video function. Yep. So
Right.
the only one, so on Spotify, so if I'm watching Rogan in my car,
Yep.
I can turn my phone sideways and I get the video feed, but it doesn't come up on my car dashboard screen.
There's always ways to cheat. Right. Well, there's other ways you could cheat. You could buy a device called an Auto Sky that's USB, and you plug it into your USB port in the fancy car, and now all of a sudden you can watch video driving down the highway at 78 miles an hour, which
Hey,
just sounds completely
sorry.
retarded. But people do it all the time.
Hey, Sean.
I would never.
They do. They do. Yeah,
Can you
they'll
hear me
go watch.
okay?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
we
Trent.
gotcha.
Okay, I'm just trying to get this thing dialed in. Sorry.
Yeah, we still got time. I'm watching the live feed of Erica, Kirk. I really want to just do a watch party. We probably won't talk much of anything while
That'd
she
be awesome, dude.
goes.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah,
have
you
the
hit me in
feed.
the
It
feels
says
when
it's
you said
live.
that's what you wanted to do.
Well, is that how we lost Edward? And he said he couldn't handle it. He needed to lay in a box of Kleenex.
Yeah.
And I get it. I totally get it. Right? I like this guy, even at 31 years old, this conservative Christian influencer. Oh, that's another thing my mom said this morning. Trad is that that she says that the left is finally waking up to the fact that conservatives are actually Christian too. And they thought they had finally eliminated Christianity from the United States.
Yeah.
And then they wake up to this and they're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And there's millions, 80 million plus of them, all fighting back against you now.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, I just sent you a message. If you could take a look-see. Don't worry, baby. I'll get you set. Sorry.
Everything okay, Trent?
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
all of that would be fine. Hold on, I think we're gonna. That would be fine, but we're gonna do the watch party. I think. Let me go ahead and bump it in. They're in Charlie's fucking podcast studio. Damn.
Are they?
Yeah, let me share it.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and send the link over to him, or?
Yeah, that's the same link.
Okay, gotcha. Roger that.
All right, you guys should see what I'm seeing now. Audio should be
Yeah,
off.
empty chair, a white hat with 47.
That's Charlie's chair. That was his. I can't remember what time it was. What didn't he do? Like noon to 2 or 11 to 1?
Noon to 2. Yeah.
Noon to 2. Yeah, that's his chair. That's his mic. Holy crap! Are they really gonna go into that? Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at his iPhone holder.
Yep. Well, and charger. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got.
There we go.
Just so you guys know, I don't have any audio yet on this. It's just the live feed. So you're hearing exactly what we're hearing. Is nothing. Hey, Trad Dad, is he in here for the watch party?
He should be in a few moments. I already sent him the link,
Okay,
and
yeah, no worries. I just didn't want to not say hi to him.
oh, don't worry. I'll let you know when he pops in.
Well, I should see him pop up as a request too. So, anyways, again, look at what we're doing. This is what we were talking about when we opened. This is TV now. Why the hell would you turn on Fox News or MSNBC or your local whatever channel it is that feeds you the same propaganda? And we've all seen it. They're all in sync. They all say the same things all the way across the country.
Yep.
Why would you bother doing that when you got podcasting now? We can do this. We're waiting on the live feeds up. I've got it up for you on the screen. But why would you bother? Why would you waste your time even turning that box on unless you're just going to watch Top Gun? Or maybe Maverick. Maverick was a really good movie.
Oh yeah, Maverick was excellent. I saw that in theaters.
I liked Gladiator too. Oh, I really liked Matrix, the first one. That kind of reminds me about times we're in with the TV telling people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Minority Report with AI coming online.
Yeah. Minority
tracking
Report.
us.
Crime predictive. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul,
Predictive crime, exactly.
How do you feel about AI predictive? Because they turned it on at the Homeland Security. They turned that on. They turned on an AI for predictive crimes.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
That must have been the iPad.
Yeah, predictive crime through AI. So AI is, ones and zeros. That's all. It's not actually intelligence. It's just interpretive. So, yeah, I'm not on board with that.
I agree. The human element, when you strip the human element away,
Right.
things just go wrong.
That's right, Mama. You gotta, it's just leg work. You gotta do leg work. You gotta make eye contact. You gotta do research and all that kind of stuff. Now I will say you can write your sit rep or your report or a weekly or something on that. And
Oh, I think we got her.
Yep.
I'm going to mute.
Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he He wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children. And he loved me with all of his heart. And I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I serve you better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? Every day. Every day. Such a good man. He still is a good man. He was the perfect father. He was the perfect husband. Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is. It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future spouse, become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has. He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful. Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family. That was his priority. One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children. He showed the ultimate and true covenantal love. I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart. I honestly have no idea what any of this means. I know that God does, but I don't. But Charlie, baby, I know you do too. I know you do. So does our Lord. And our world is filled with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good. He's so incredibly good. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Already I have seen the worldwide outpouring of love for my husband. I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married, to start families, to seek out a relationship with God. It's the most important one of all. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment. And one of Charlie's greatest talents was his ability, this phenomenal ability to choose great people to follow him. He could always find the ones who could handle any setback. And it's almost like he knew. He could see it in you. Even when you couldn't see it in yourself, he just knew. He knew you could handle it. You thought you only had 5% left, and he knew you had 15. He knew you were ready to go that extra mile even when you didn't. He always challenged people around him to work harder and to be better. He never gave up. And I love knowing that one of his mottos was never surrender. So I want to tell you that we'll never surrender. We never will. Ever. Ever. Our campus tour this fall will continue. There will be even more tours in the years to come. America Fest here in Phoenix this December will go on. It will be greater than ever. The radio and podcast show that he was so proud of will go on. And in a world filled with chaos, doubt, and uncertainty, my husband's voice will remain. And it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever. And his wisdom will endure. My favorite too, but my husband's favorite word in the English language was earn. He would call all of you to be people of action who earn the future America deserves. So to all of the young people who felt inspired by my husband's faith and hard work, all of you already know what Charlie would want you to do. You know. You know. If you're in high school or if you're in college, go find your local Turning Point USA chapter. Join it. Stay involved. He wants you to make a difference. And you can. You can. The movement's not going anywhere, and it will only grow stronger when you join it. If there isn't a chapter, you can't find one, then start one. There is no excuse. You can start one. And as my husband used to say in this room, every single day, if you want to get involved, the best way you can do that is going to tpusa.com. That's what he would say every day from this chair. Every single day. I watched his show every day, and he would always say, if you want to get involved, go to tpusa.com. If you're a pastor, join our movement at TPUSA Faith. And if you're a parent, I highly recommend that you come to America Fest in December. Sign up right now for that because we would love to see you. I would love to see you. Charlie would. He'll be there. He'll be there in spirit. Bring your kids, bring your family. But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one. A Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. Charlie loved his Savior with all of his heart, and he wanted every one of you to know him too. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess the Lord Jesus Christ who rose from the dead, then they will be saved. Hear me when I say this, nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. Nobody is ever too young to get involved with saving this beautiful country, this country my husband loved and still loves. And nobody is ever too old either. There's no age limit. I know my husband is still here. He's watching over us. I don't remember the last time I slept. I couldn't sleep last night. And Charlie, baby. Charlie, I promise I will never let your legacy die, baby. I won't. I promise I'll make Turning Point USA the biggest thing that this nation has ever seen. I promise. Oh, Charlie, I love you. I love you, baby. Rest in the arms of our Lord as he blankets you with the words I know your heart always strived to hear. Well done, my good and faithful servant. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget. And my goodness, am I so humbled to witness Charlie, you alongside Jesus right now, doing what you always want to do, baby. Making heaven crowded, right? That's what it's all about. Making heaven crowded. I can't wait to see you again one day. Thank you all again who love my husband, who supported him, who wrote him an email every single day during his radio show. He read all of them. All of them. God bless you all. And may God bless America.
We'll get everything reset. All right, I think we're good now. Let's everyone will have to unmic. I muted everybody. Do you guys think so we had Rush Limbaugh. And I've still got 2 of you muted. You will all have to unmute. I muted everybody so that we could get through this. It's at the bottom of your screen. Do you think there's a guy any bigger than Charlie Kirk for millennials and Gen Z that we all had, the Gen X and the Boomers had with Rush Limbaugh? And right, that emotional attachment you had to him. You felt like he was your uncle talking to you on the radio every day, telling you what was what. Day, I remember specifically the day when he found out that Obama had won a second term. And it took him about 5 minutes to collect his stuff, get it all together. And then he did another 2 hours and 55 minutes of flawless radio. But he couldn't believe that Obama got elected the second time. when you were listening to that, you felt it. You were like, I feel what you're feeling, because that's the way I felt, Rush, when I saw Obama get a second term. Even though Mitt Romney was a horrible garbage piece of human being, we just didn't want another term of Obama. Is this not what Charlie Kirk is to the generations before us? Is the Rush Limbaugh? Well, everybody's still muted? All right, I think I got
Everybody,
everybody
there we
unmuted.
go. Yes,
I'm here.
there we go.
Let's go. All right, I think we got everything fixed.
Okay.
Let's go. Paul?
Paul, you good?
Yeah.
Paul,
Well, anyway,
is your mic open, Paul?
yeah, I've got everybody good on my side, so you'll have to take care of it on your side. I just did a mute all, basically. But he was Trad Mom.
Can you hear me now?
We got Paul.
Yeah, we got you. We got Paul.
Paul,
Yay!
is Charlie Kirk the Rush Limbaugh of the Gen Z millennial era?
Well, 100%, dude. 100%. And where he brings different, so he adjusted himself to Gen Z and millennials, just like Rush did for Gen X and baby boomers. You know how his message, Rush, we all resonated with Rush because he spoke our language. And the thing that made Turning Point so popular is that Charlie and his crew spoke the language of Gen Z and millennials. And so he even though it was a different style, he 100,000% he was the Rush Limbaugh of the new generation.
Incredible. Open table. Let me get the other two guests. What are your thoughts? Both trads, mom and dad.
Well, Hun, do you want to go first?
I can go ahead and go first, darling.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I'll agree with you 100%. He was definitely the Rush Limbaugh of the new young generation. But not only that, but I think I will take it a step further. He was not only the Rush Limbaugh of this new young generation, but he was galvanizing the future Rush Limbaughs of their generation as well.
I could agree with that. Trad Dad, thoughts?
So my thoughts are on this is that he wouldn't have been the Rush Limbaugh. The way Rush would have probably wanted it, especially with how he used to do his show, was he didn't want just one singular voice. He would have wanted many of them. And there are a lot of them that are out there that are coming up now that are conservative speakers. Conservative speakers, we still hold control of most of the podcasts that are out there, a good portion of radio, and I think we have most of the major live streamers that are out there as well that are conservative speakers at this point. So I think he was one of many. What his main thing was is that he went to where essentially the opponent was. A lot of the others that are out there, yeah, they'll do a speech or two at different places. Ben Shapiro does stuff like that. I think it was Milo Yiannopoulos used to do the same, where they would go out, talk to these very large town hall groups or different auditoriums, whereas Charlie Kirk used to just pretty much sit in some cases at a street corner and just, okay, debate with me right here.
Yeah.
That was a difference in the style, which was he wanted to talk to them one-on-one. And yes, this last thing was like over 3,000 people, but it still wasn't behind some walls. It was just out there in the open. And a lot of people, you can even see it in the footage. Yeah, there was a lot of people.
100%.
There were a lot of people that were opponents of his, but it wasn't about whether it was more people that were for him as against him. It was about just having the dialogue, and that was the key thing that he wanted. Rush didn't really care as much about the dialogue because he knew he was going to be correct every time. I heard some of his calls, and they were great, including calling one lady a blockhead. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever heard. But when it comes to Charlie, he would argue a point, listen to the other side, and then debate back on it. It wasn't about trying to one up somebody. It was just trying to have them think.
I think so, but we could get into where Charlie also had a good time batting around liberals who were not prepared to step up to the mic. And you know what? That was like a lot of people like that. Like I'm gonna go with my mom's friend group again. She's 73. And they actually they got some humor out of that. At least the ones that were Christian and not totally woke, and that's a thing too. And then go back to Ben Shapiro though. They didn't like him. I personally didn't like. I'm well aware Ben Shapiro's a really smart guy, and he says the correct things. But when he did 10 years of campus tours, he just looked like a dick the entire time he was up there, yelling at people and calling them, like, whatever. People, names are names. It's about your actions. I'm not saying Ben Shapiro's a bad guy. I'm just saying he's a very bad interacting with college folk.
Right.
Charlie Kirk was fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And we have other people out there who've tried to do similar things to Charlie. I mean, we have even on the women's side, we have people like Candace Owen and stuff like that who are going out and doing the same thing. And but Candace had her few moments of kind of smacking that nail on the head too. I think my favorite moment of ever hearing her publicly speak is she was very pregnant at the time, and she was at a college campus. And somebody said to her, how do you expect us to deal with the animosity and the problems that your side is creating? And she said, buckle up and get a helmet. And I love, yeah, so buckle up and get it. She said, buckle up and get a helmet. I don't have time to worry about your feelings. And it had me laughing so hard.
Well,
That's
isn't that
classic, dude.
isn't that just it though? Like, especially I think post 2 days ago, I really think all of a sudden social media is going to find out everybody who hid, they were still there, but everybody who didn't wear their MAGA hat after 2018 because they were scared of political violence against them just for wearing MAGA hats in public or MAGA T-shirts or whatnot, and then you saw a little of it come back right towards 2020, but it's not really as much.
Yeah.
But then when 2024 happened, you saw these rallies 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. The one I was at in Charlotte wasn't that big, but that's because they had to secure it, and it was inside of a theater, or well, no, a hockey arena that could only hold 16,000, and they packed 20,000 in, and the fire marshal said that was great, no problem, 20,000, that's fine. To protect the president, but also to protect us, because ever since, and this is where my recall comes from. I've been involved in politics for a long time. I didn't get involved online till after 2020, but watching it, and I was watching, people were honestly afraid of the left, and they were afraid to wear their MAGA gear because they were afraid they were going to a Chick-fil-A or a Burger King
Yeah.
or heaven forbid, a Starbucks, and be attacked by some shrieking leftist. And like, I think that what happened to Charlie Kirk, and that's my question I'm going to propose is I think is that over? Are we just done doing that? We're just out in public now.
No, we're going to have both sides of this. We are absolutely going to have people that are still going to be hiding behind the lines right now. Probably more so now than before, simply because someone actually got shot. However, based on the talks that I've had with some conservative friends of mine, there's a lot more of them that this woke them up in a way that the left probably doesn't want to know. They are now to the point of, okay, so how do I combat them without going to prison? I've had at least two people say the exact same thing as, how do I not lose my job and not go to prison to try to fight them now?
All right, real quick before we don't want to go down dark road. What needs to happen, and what Paul and I are going to drive to action is that we're going to get and we're going to support every candidate until we get a supermajority in both the Senate and the House in 2026. That's literally how we drive back the demons, and we drive them back for so long that they don't ever have a chance of ever being a party politically again. No, I appreciate what you're telling me and what you're hearing, but the way forward literally is we are going to show up in mass, and I will support anybody in however way we have to make sure we have a supermajority in the Senate, a supermajority in the House, and then we want, Paul, I've talked to you about this a long time. We want at least 12 years, but if you could go 18, if you could go Vance 48, if you could go Rubio 49, and then with a supermajority, you would have a reset. And here's, let me explain what I mean by a reset. God made the Jews walk for 40 years in the desert so they would have 2 generations to forget their errors. Then he let them come home.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we definitely we are approaching a season where that reset is on the horizon, because I mean it even says in the Bible that that there will be just before the end, there will be this great wave of an awakening amongst the believers just before the end. And and this is honestly, this is so telling. What is happening now is so telling, and really, we got to be ready. That's the what it all boils down to, is we need to be ready.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. I guess where I'm coming from is a point of Donald John Trump is pushing that out a little further, and we can. We can. We just gotta do what I said, right? Well, look, we're gonna make sure we elect everybody and do everything right. It'll be good. Whatever. Come on, but that's the only way forward for humans right now, is to stomp, not physically, to the ground the Democrat Party until they have to break up into micro fractions and start a new thought process, because it's just vile and we can't have it. We like Paul and I've had great discussions about the old Democrat Party, the Bill Clintons or the Kennedys, or they don't exist anymore. They don't exist.
No,
Right?
that's 100% on that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've been assassinated by Democrats.
Right. Who wanted what?
Yeah.
Power.
Reagan,
The
JFK, Reagan.
Well, Lincoln. Well, remember, Lincoln was a Republican, not a Dem.
Yeah, but they assassinated him, John Wilkes Booth,
That's right.
because why? They
Mm,
really wanted their cheap labor.
And yep.
mm.
Boy, that tale hasn't changed. The Democrats still want their cheap labor. Why do you think they're fighting immigration so hard?
Yep. That's exactly right.
No doubt.
I will say, if we're going to do this by winning in the elections, one of the things that needs to happen is we need to get rid of some of these rhinos that are out there.
Oh,
A good case in point is going to be Representative Tony Gonzalez down in Texas, who's now going to be going up against Brandon Herrera yet again.
Mm-mm.
After he won that election, got back in for another term, he went back to doing the exact same thing he was doing before, and that is, okay, I'm a Republican when it's the election time, but every other time I'm going to act like every Democrat that's down
yeah.
here. And
He's such an epic piece of shit, dude.
Hey,
that's
Paul,
yeah.
I think Trad Dad's right, and I've been thinking about this. We have not been associated with the group called MAGA Mission for almost a year now. But I've been thinking about this, Paul, because I'm so deeply concerned about primaries, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we should try to turn this page or this podcast into helping candidates who want to get or win a primary
Right.
and take out whoever it is, Chip Roy. I really don't give a shit, right? But just take why don't we take the process back? The process starts with primary elections, which is your chance to fire the dude or the chick that is your party and replace them,
Yep.
not give it away to the
Not give it away.
Democrat,
Yeah. Yep.
right? And I don't know if once election season gears up in March, maybe we turn towards that, Paul. We'll talk about it later.
And I would say we need to talk about it later.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. No, that's definitely going to be something we need to think about on the horizon. When in the coming months. For now, I think the direction that we need to go as a community and as a group is we need to step together as a community. We need to build that bridge, build that communal team of saying, okay, we are in this for the long haul. We are in
The
this for
long
the big
haul.
fight.
Yep.
And yeah, and that's where we need to be galvanizing right now, is getting people together and going, hey, I'm not your enemy and you're not my enemy, and yeah, we may not be 100% on everything, but we all agree that what they're doing on the other side is not good and needs to end.
And if you're a libertarian, Rush famously said, "Look, you're just a liberal who doesn't understand it yet." So we have to be very clear about all of the. And I've seen a lot of it online. Libertarians say, "Now's our time." No, now's
No.
not your time. Now's not your time.
Yeah.
Conservatism, Rush Limbaugh conservatism, Charlie Kirk conservatism, it is the way, and it will be that way. And I feel bad for the libertarian friends that we have sometimes on this podcast, that they're just never going to win an election, a meaningful election,
Yeah.
ever in their entire life. They're going to have to just figure something out because it's never going to happen. Nobody's going to vote for him. Why the
Yep.
fuck would you vote for Chase Oliver, who wants to put dog masks, leather dog masks, and chain people up to street poles? Why? No, not even Democrats want that. Clearly they don't, because they don't vote for them. They vote
Right.
for worse.
Sounds like what you're just describing sounds like something out of one of those pride parades. My gosh.
Right, it is. Oh my God! Have you seen when Chase Oliver ran for president? That's exactly the photos his campaign was posting out. And he was wearing a
Ugh.
leather dog mask, and he was in a dog collar, Somebody was walking him, so why is you're going to let him be in charge when somebody's dog walking him?
Yeah,
Really?
no.
I mean, the Democrats did for Joe Biden, but you know.
Oh, hey, shots fired.
Hey, we hit the hour. I appreciate everyone being here. Let me close this one out. I really appreciate y'all for being here.
Hey, I loved it. Great show tonight, Sean.
To all
Thank
the
you so much.
listeners, yeah, to all the listeners, yeah, we will be posting this to all websites again. Sorry for the Charlie Kirk show, the Wednesday one. It was just too graphic. There's still censorship on apps that are not X or Rumble. So if you really want to know what we're doing live every day, follow the Rumble channel or follow the X account. We got to go. Love you all.
See you, bro.
Yep.
Night, everyone.
See ya.
All right. Bye, Sean.
Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.